Why do bad lip reading parody song videos capture the heart of a character or like a story so well to where I'll watch it? Like, they did one on The Walking Dead, and I have never seen The Walking Dead, and it's probably not my kind of story, but I watched Carl Poppa like once recently, and I'm like, I would die for Carl. And also, I'm kind of now like attached to the story. Somehow, these very funny, like completely nonsense videos manage to be super poignant at the same time. I'm never really sure whether to like laugh or cry, and it's great. I think that BLR has discovered or managed to produce like the hit the right tone for comedy. It's almost like a tragicomic tone. So I've decided to ramble and try to analyze why, because I can't ever just laugh at something. I have to analyze it and figure out why it's funny or touching or whatever. I do this with memes, which I take very seriously. But no, so thinking like it's the juxtaposition of these two tones. So I think, where do I want to start? Okay, well, what does BLR accomplish? So, first of all, usually their humor is entirely just like awkward humor. And usually I find that very cringe. And all I'm doing is just secondhand cringe. I'm like, no. But for some reason, bad lip reading, I'm just laughing every time. And then it'll be, a scene of somebody dying or having a really, like a complete meltdown and a really serious mood, and over it the lyrics are just total nonsense. And somehow, like, it manages to both evoke the emotional reaction of the melodramatic scene along with the making you laugh at the ridiculousness of it. Like almost a lampshade, because melodrama is always a little bit like they hijack the irony. Yeah, maybe that's part of what it is, I think. In the same way, because melodrama, or like, okay, the Carl Poppa scene, they use some where he's like, there's this dead man, I don't know who he is, and Carl is this kid, right, in this tragedy, and yeah, heavens, this video is gonna be a mess. So Carl is this kid, right? I should just reshoot this when I have more coherent thoughts. The thing is that I'll go through drafts and drafts, and then I just try to make it too polished, and then I have no motivation because I'm too much of a perfectionist. So anyway, so the scene with Carl, we'll just use that as like an example. That's a good idea. So he's this kid, right? He's in the middle of this apocalypse, horrible situation. He is yelling at this dead man, maybe some kind of guardian that's abandoned him or something, and he is like tearful, and it's obviously this very intense, touching scene. But the lyrics over it are, "Man, I just flow, la jiggy jar jar do, dur dur dirty dur," and which, I mean, BLR is the master. I don't know what his real name is, but the master of just like random noises and just. So it's both at the same time. That tension between the the melodrama, the tragedy, and the complete absurdity. Absurdity is the word I was looking for. Um, yeah, I'm sure I could employ all kinds of philosophical terms if I had them, because this is a thing. Oh dear. So yeah, it's like, I guess the same instinct as that makes you want to like laugh at a funeral or at a serious, really serious situation. Like, if you're a little bit removed from it, or if you have enough ability to metacognite and detach from yourself to where you are a little bit removed from all the situations that happen to you. Definitely not speaking from personal experience here. Okay, I should not do the self-deprecating 2022 humor. I should be above that. No, but BLR does capture that beautifully. Like, I'm so caffeinated right now. I think that's why this video is such a mess. It's like both. So it's like takes that so you have this very tragic scene, right? Which maybe would normally evoke a few tears. And I guess it's because all intense emotion is like the same. I mean, intense happiness and intense sadness, they kind of blur into each other. Intense pain and intense pleasure, they like blur into each other. And BLR evokes both extremes at the same time, therefore just giving you a rush of a lot of emotion that's like sad and happy at the same time, but the effect is to really attach you, is to make you feel very much. I guess that's why, because like the goal of the media, I should not, the goal of the story world is to make you feel something, right, and like live vicariously and be attached to these characters. So one way to make you feel something is to have this scene of Carl having this yelling at this, which is really sad and touching, but then BLR just adds on top of that like lampshades and draws out the perverse instinct that we have to like maybe to separate ourselves or protect ourselves or just see the wider picture and like laugh at this very, very touching, very intense, sad situation. But then BLR makes you laugh at it by, you know, putting la jiggy jar jar doo dur 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 over this scene. But it's not with somehow the underlying like tone of it. There's like empathy. It's not like complete cold mockery comedy, which I'm sure a lot of that exists, and I never like it, and it's always just very cringe. I don't know. There's somehow BLR in the tone preserves like empathy. That's what comes across. So that the awkwardness and or like the absurdity of what is being sung by the characters like makes it more touching. And you end up feeling more. And it almost sets off it's like a tone thing, yeah. So I've been thinking lately a lot about this concept that balance comes from simultaneously holding extremes. This is something that I was thinking about, and then Alex Honnold from Climbers Gold podcast confirmed it. I love that podcast. Climbing Gold. But no, just like physically it looks balanced, but what's actually going on is you're holding a lot of opposing tensions. Same thing is true on different levels, I believe, too. So that, and BLR does that perfectly. Because on one hand, you have these deeply poignant scenes. And then on the other hand, complete absurd nonsense that is somehow just perfect. Like the tone, the little noises, the no music, the like awkward, like little mouth, it's so funny. but at the same time, like this deeply poignant scene. And somehow, and I guess this is just maybe just put up to that whoever's behind BLR is like a good person and makes good work, I think. Somehow the spirit of the thing and the tone of it is not like a ha ha ha, I'm laughing at people dying, and you kind of really, and it is also not, why are you laughing at this? Like it doesn't, it's the perfect balance between the, I do not know how to pronounce these names, Charybdis and Scylla of, yeah, you get the point. Simultaneously holding the opposing tensions of deep, poignant melodrama and tragic situations and absolute, beautifully refined absurdity, complete absurdity. And they're both together in the same couple of very catchy musical lines. And I have all of these songs stuck in my head all the time and have read all kinds of personal symbolic meanings and references into them. And it feels good. Like there's not this, somehow they managed to make you laugh at what is really not a laughable situation. I mean, a kid in the middle of like an apocalypse, but without that like guilty, like, haha, should I really be laughing at this? Like it lampshades that too. I don't know. Beautiful art. Unironically, good art. Yeah, there's just a lot. There's a lot to unpack. But in a way, the entire tone of bad lip reading, and I think especially the songs, just because music, you know, adds another layer, and it's good. Like the songs are very catchy. It captures very well, like the quintessence of humanity, right? Because life is like that. I mean, there are moments that are pure, and those are good, like of pure tenderness or pure tragedy. And when you can be completely immersed in those moments, then like that's good. And maybe that's the best, or no. But those are good, right? But most of the time, owing to our human complexities, we're not completely immersed in the moment. For instance, right now, partly I'm talking and partly I'm wondering how to make this video better and if anyone's going to watch it, which does not matter because it is for my, partly just to clear up my own thoughts. So yeah, like usually we're, as humans, we have this layer of sort of metacognition going on, and also situations are complicated and there's different threads going in, so it's very rare that something's completely pure. And even if it is completely pure for one person, maybe you're watching it or you're looking back on it or something. There's always like multiple layers, so it becomes more of a harmony thing, like music, where it's dissonance, and if you can make that dissonance like become a gestalt, become a synthesis that's, you're following all this, right? Guys, I do not have enough friends. My sister would follow this. Oh, she also might interrupt me in the middle with a complete non sequitur. But no, like the quintessence of like what makes us human, or what makes us feel like, oh, like that's a human. In the words of Twilight, that's some human minutes. Is that like the bittersweet and the like awkward moments. And if you can capture that and you can present that, then like that's good art. And it's very relatable, and it's very like you make you feel the thing. Feel thing is good. Yeah. Now that I think of it, it is an accomplishment that BLR makes me laugh at the awkward, cringy things, because usually I'm just not a fan, because I'm very sensitive myself. Yeah. Yeah. So in conclusion, bad lip reading hits, finds it perfect harmony or productive dissonance between complete beautiful absurdity and complete poignant melodramatic tragedy, and picks up both of those threads and weaves them together beautifully in a very catchy tune in their songs. Their non-musical videos are so good as well. Those are more about the awkwardness. But therefore, doing what I guess all art does and affirming our humanity, and it's with a tone of underlying empathy. And they managed to capture truly what the human experience, that's what I mean to say. Because that is the human experience, is there's always these multiple tones and layers in everything. And usually they don't quite fit together. Because when you're in the moment, maybe something's pure, and you're just so happy, or you're just so sad, or so in pain that you can't think about anything else. But, 2 seconds later, something else changed, and then you're looking back on that. Or you're watching someone else, or there's always layers. So the thing is to, harmonize those layers. And bad lip reading does it perfectly. Go, if you have not, go watch bad lip reading and fall in love. I don't even know what's my favorite song of theirs. So many. I like all of them. I just have Carl Poppa in my head now. They keep walking my way. If they're talking, can't tell what they say. Stuff in their way. And I think it probably takes a healthy, tells you something about the creator's mind, that he's able to make something like that feels like good and clean to watch. Yeah. But every day I worry all day about what's waiting in the bushes of love. Something's waiting in the bushes for us.